for boxing. All right, y'all. I want to get my take on the fight we just watched with Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz. First of all, in full disclosure, I will be eating a plate of crow behind this one. I went the other way. I felt like Ortiz would be able to stop Andy, and I was wrong. So, of course, if anyone who saw the fight, a lot of this stuff is going to be redundant to you, but you know, there are some people who don't catch the fights and then they go around looking for, you know, updates on what happened. So in the fight, I felt like Ortiz came out, you know, tentative. So did Ruiz. The first round pretty uneventful, and then of course, you know, Ortiz landed a big shot toward the end. I felt like that gave him the round. But then I think it was the second round, Andy hurt Ortiz and dropped him. And then later on, Ortiz went down again, but it looked like he didn't even get hit with a shot. It was more so because of, you know, basically he was still hurt from the earlier shot. And then Andy dropped him again in the seventh. And there was a lot of rounds that were uneventful. Ortiz just probing with the jab, throwing an occasional left hand, every once in a while throwing a hook. And Andy kind of, you know, fighting off the back foot and retreating and covering up and, you know, basically kind of waiting for opening so he could come in and close the distance and try to land the shots, or waiting on Ortiz to come to him so he could get in there and close the shots. He dropped him. He hurt him again in the seventh and dropped him. And, you know, essentially, you know, if you take away the knockdowns, you know, Ortiz won most of the fight. But those knockdowns, they loom large on the scorecard. You know, so there was one 10-7 round, and then there was a 10-8 round. And the judges kind of saw it that way. You know, the knockdowns were the difference in the fight. You take away the knockdowns, you could pretend, basically with the way the fight was scored, if you take away the knockdowns, if I'm not mistaken, you would have Ortiz winning on one judge's scorecard, and then the other two would have been a draw, you know, potentially. But then again, who's to say that the rounds that were the knockdown couldn't have went Ortiz's way? But at the end of the day, the fight played out as it did. You know, a lot of people were talking, no way this fight goes to distance. And sometimes you just, you know what I'm saying, you can't buy into that, because, you know, you never know about the resiliency and resolve of a fighter. You know, even when they're hurt, you know, not you know, allowing themselves to you know what I'm saying, to be stopped. You know what I'm saying? Even though we've seen Ortiz stop twice, we've seen him hurt several other times, and he, you know, he refused to go out. He refused to lose. You know, not refused to lose. He refused. Well, he did in those other cases, but you know, he refused to be stopped. And you know, he just wasn't disconnected from his senses enough in any of those other fights, other than the two Wilder fights. But Andy, you know what I'm saying, Andy gave him a lot to think about. He couldn't come in all reckless. Ortiz finished the fight well, but Andy was just, you know, Andy's faster hands when they were in close seemed to be the difference, and that's the reason he got the knockdowns. He landed some very good shots behind the ear. They were like equilibrium shots that, you know, dropped Ortiz 2 times. And, you know, Andy definitely, you know, in my opinion, deserved to win this fight. You know, it just, like I said, with the knockdowns, it's just too much to overcome. Luis Ortiz would have had to thoroughly dominate the fight every other round other than the ones the knockdown took place in. And, you know, I've seen a fight where a guy got knocked down several times and dominated the rest of the fight and should have won going away on the scorecards, but he didn't. So, I mean, this fight still went the other way. It's hard to win a fight when you get knocked down 3 times, you know what I'm saying? Juan Manuel Marquez getting a draw against Pacquiao is like the best I've ever seen, you know what I'm saying, that comes to mind, and the guy, you know, getting dropped 3 times in a fight. You know, as for Andy, you know, they're talking like potentially there could be a showdown with Wilder. With the Wilder Helenius winner, let me put it that way, because, you know, Wilder has to go out and win. But then again, there's other options. You know, Andy has now gotten 2 wins under his belt since he returned I think he's only had 2 fights since the loss to Joshua. So, you know what I'm saying, he's on, you know, on the winning track. Ortiz, you know, who knows? I don't know if this is the last time we're going to see him in the ring, or if he's going to hang around a little bit longer. You know, his punch resistance seems not to be what it was, but I don't want to take away from, you know, what Andy Ruiz did and knocking him down like he did. I don't want to take away from Charles Martin dropping him the way he did in their fight. You know, maybe these guys are just, you know, landing the right punches in the right places and hurting the man, you know, so I don't want to take that away from them. But I'm eager to see what's next for Andy, eager to see if Ortiz hangs it up. I didn't listen to the in-ring interviews and all that stuff because I'm too busy trying to go ahead and get this video out, so I don't know, you know, what they're saying and what's being talked about, but I definitely am interested to see what's next for both guys. You know, there's some guys out there that could make for good fights for Ortiz. You know, but it just remains to be seen. You know, he's fighting big puncher after big puncher after big puncher. You know what I'm saying? And he's not getting any younger. You know what I'm saying? It could end badly for him if it keeps going the way it's going. You know, in terms of you know, him getting, you know, really knocked out in a fight. You know, he hadn't been like really, you know what I'm saying? Well, like maybe that second Wilder fight, I think he may have been knocked out pretty bad. I can't remember. But Andy, you know, with Andy, he opened himself up a lot more opportunities with the win. He's in a lot better place than he would be had he not won. But that's all I got on it. D-Lo 404 Boxing. Like, share, comment, subscribe. My peace.